Welcome to Beyond the Physical, a podcast that uncovers the secrets to tapping into the world beyond form to thrive in life and business. I'm your host, Sitara Fe, a world-renowned psychic medium, quantum business coach, and your guide on this journey beyond the physical. Each episode will dive into spiritual insights, intuitive wisdom, and practical strategies to help you discover your personal greatness. Please feel free to find me on Instagram and YouTube at sitara.speaks for daily connection. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Before we proceed with today's episode, please note that this was originally recorded as an Instagram Live, and you'll notice some instances where I encourage some interaction. If you find yourself wanting to do so or to catch us live, please feel free to dial in by commenting on any of my posts on Instagram, and I'll be happy to send you a DM. We're live, baby. I want to talk to you about this upcoming masterclass and the importance of this conversation. So, the entity clearing masterclass. It is a topic that I actually used to hold only for people who've been in my advanced level psychic development courses for a minimum of 6 months. So when I got the assignment by Spirit to lead this class, and then I went through very unpleasant initiations through July to really master this within myself, and to be able to lead us and teach us through this clearing. And I was asking Spirit, I said, hey, what about that whole thing about, people needing experience and a grounded foundation and an understanding of like how to protect themselves and this, that, and the other? And the answer that I got was actually a bit alarming and helped me to understand a little bit more of where we're at in the world and what's going on and why this class is so incredibly important. So basically the response that I got is that people are being bombarded with entities. They don't know that it's happening. They don't have any understanding of or the awareness that it's a thing that happens in this world. And not only that we are absolutely inundated. Now, when I first started removing entities from my field and my space, I was about 21, maybe 22 years old. I started drinking when I was 14. I grew up in a drinking town. It's not necessarily something I'm super proud of, but it's also, just a part of my life experience. Alcohol is the easiest and number one way that we allow entities into our field. And this is 100% of the reason why I do not drink and why I have not drank in almost 6 years. So alcohol is not the only way that entities get into our field and into our awareness. So I also want to say, if you want to tune into this masterclass, you can go ahead and type comment clarity in the comments here as I'm sharing this live with you, as well as, as you're watching the replay. Entities are a external consciousness that they're parasitic energies. Oftentimes, if you do a physical parasite cleanse in your body, you will also clear energetic entities as well. It's not always the case that all of them go, but it helps. I have a video on YouTube that's called Drunk Spirituality. So you can type in the YouTube, and I'll post the link to it in the stories here as well. But it's called Drunk Spirituality. And I actually went into detail around what my personal experience was with entities and what happened in my life when I started clearing them and how to identify it. So one way to identify it is if you have like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. If you are recognizing even within your own self that you're like quick to anger, or quick to rage, or quick to cry, or quick to like one of these intense emotions where it's like a quick personality shift, that's a really solid and very clear indicator that you have an entity. Now, not all entities are obvious. And the reason that I want to recommend this class is not just for you if you think you have an entity, but also it's really, really important and beneficial for all of us collectively to understand how to start seeing these and identifying them. So especially if you are a healer, if you are an energy practitioner, if you are a yoga teacher, if you are a massage therapist, if you are a breathwork practitioner, if you are working anywhere in the field of energetic healing, you need to understand and know how these energies work. This is why I teach this in my advanced level psychic development course. But again, there's so much manipulation and there's so many distortions going on in our collective field right now that Spirit was, again, encouraging me to have this conversation. An entity attachment is very different than an entanglement. A quantum entanglement is that that basically that there's an invisible string. Think of it like, the two cups in a string. It's like that there's an invisible string between two particles that are in consistent communication with one another. An entity attachment is an agreement that we make on a subconscious or subtle level. And oftentimes this happens before the age of 10. So if there are sometimes it's like when we're in a state of fear or we're in a state of panic and we're like, please, please, please help, something comes, blah, 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 it's like, it's when we're praying from a place of desperation and not knowing where and how we're opening ourselves to. So this is why it sometimes happens more frequently with children. And then the thing is that it basically becomes a part of the behavior. So a lot of indicators, and this is not saying that if you have an emotional outburst, you have an entity. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there's certain things within the energetic patterns of what to look out for when you recognize that you're dealing with somebody that has an attachment. Energy vampires, these are entity attachments. An energy vampire is a person that has an entity that is attached to them that is feeding off of the energy of people around them. So the way that you feel around an energy vampire is the way they feel when they are by themselves. They are literally being siphoned. And these are some extreme, these aren't even actually the extreme versions of what I'm sharing, but can you start to see how it's really important for us to have this conversation? Not a lot of I have not seen any energetic practitioners having this conversation other than my own mentors when I was in my early 20s, and that was at the Berkeley Psychic Institute. I talk about it in my courses because I want the practitioners that come through my courses to be at a top tier level of their own psychic development. And this is all a part of that arena. So when we're talking energy healing, even the gateway that is Reiki or even the gateway that is sound healing, it's critically important to be able to understand the behavior qualities in a human, an individual, that gives the indicators that there is an entity present. So the thing with entities too is that they will manipulate the field and they will cause chaos. So if you know anybody that it's like you're around them and even within a matter of, let's say, half an hour, maybe even less time than that, you're like confused, maybe you're feeling a little rageful, or maybe you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, it's like, you can tell that something's off, but you're like, I don't know how to figure out what's going on. I just know that something is off, right? Ultimately, this is what's happening. And so the reason that I really want to suggest and encourage you to join us in the Entity Clearing Masterclass is that, one, I'm creating this on divine assignment. If this was not a divine assignment, I don't think I would be doing this, right? It's way more fun to do quantum cash flow. It's way more fun to do quantum leap immersive, but I will tell you that with this information, you will quantum leap. You will understand and you will identify and recognize lower vibrational frequencies and how they are interacting and influencing your field. So the other thing about an entity, the Entity Clearing Masterclass that I want to talk about that I've learned on my journey, and I've done very dramatic exorcisms, I've done extractions, I've cleared them from myself. Again, this is an area and part of my expertise. It's just honestly not something that I talk about on social media because the majority of the population isn't ready to have this conversation, but you're here because you are. And you're here and you're ready because this information needs to be more common knowledge. A lot of what I'm seeing in politics, a lot of what I'm seeing in the healthcare system, a lot of what I'm seeing in the indoctrination in the school system, a lot of what I'm seeing in casinos, nightclubs, that sort of stuff. There are massive, major vampirical forces that we are subjecting ourselves to if we are not keenly aware of what's going on. And that is the bigger version, that is the bigger picture as to why this conversation is so important. You need to know how to protect yourself from these things. Otherwise, you are unconsciously and consensually giving up your autonomy and your sovereignty that is literally siphoning your life force energy. This is such a massive and major conversation. Let me also cue you in on this. The United States healthcare system, this is one that I know, so I don't know if this is going on in other ones, but the United States healthcare system does not test for parasites. Why doesn't it test for parasites? Because if you have parasites in your system that are literally siphoning all of the nutrition and the physical life force energy out of your body, you stay sick. You also stay controllable. What we're talking about in the Entity Clearing Masterclass has everything to do with you fully embodying your personal power. Because when you are embodied in your divine sovereignty and you are embodied in your personal power, there is no other frequency, there is no other energy that can infiltrate your system in any way, shape, or form. So the base absolute core principle of what we're going to be talking about in the Entity Clearing Masterclass is I'm going to be sharing with you how and why it is so important for you to take your absolute divine sovereignty and your personal power to the utmost level of your focus, standard, and self-respect. Personal power is something that is almost like misogynized in our culture. It's like if you are standing in your own personal power and you are a sovereign being, you have other people that are like, get back in the box, get back in the box, get back in the box. You've gone too strong. You've gone too independent. You've gone too, get back in the box. Why? How did you get out of the cage? Right? It's when you are in, and the other thing is this, is that most people do not trust, and you can type me in the comments if this is you, but most people do not trust their personal power because they do not trust what they themselves would do with their personal power because you have not integrated your own darkness. I'm going to let that one land. Because the only way that these entity and parasitic attachments can get into your field and into your consciousness is if you let them. Charles, yes, this is for every level. This is for beginners, intermediates, advanced. I thought I was advanced with entities. And like I said, in July, I went through some pretty gnarly initiations with really honing in my personal power and my personal trust with what I'm going to be teaching. I got cued into the fact that I was going to be leading this class probably mid-June. And I just went, shit, because anytime I get a divine assignment to lead a class, I know that I'm about to go through the initiations required for me to embody the teachings of it on a higher level before I teach it. So like I said, I've been doing this since my early 20s. I've been doing this work for well over 10 years. I've clocked in over 10,000 hours, been doing this for over 10 years. I am a master at my craft, and I feel very confident in saying that. When it comes to the entities, again, the conversation is not pleasant because you're literally dealing with energetic beings that are specifically designed in their presence to manipulate and control you. It's just not a fun conversation to have. But when you get to the point of embodying your personal power and you clear, because let me tell you, There's no room for people pleasing when you're doing entity removals. There's no negotiations. There's no, let's see how this works between us. Here's the fucking deal. You're out. And most people are not willing to have that conversation. Period. With anything, with anybody. So when you get to the point I see I've been attacked and I'm a people pleaser. Yeah, we have to clear codependence. Again, clearing entities has everything to do with your personal power clearing codependence. Codependence pulls you out of your personal power on a regular basis with your interpersonal relationships in your life, right? So we've got to be able to clear this. And again, for those of you that are new here, go ahead and type clarity in the comments for your invitation to join us for the Entity Clearing Masterclass. We're still in the early bird pricing phase, so I encourage you to just hop in there. If you're feeling the call, don't second guess it. Just jump in. Like I said, it's a 3-day masterclass. I can feel how powerful it's going to be because, again, I'm telling it is about really, really, really accessing the core truth of your personal power. Because if you leave the door open in any sort of way, you leave some leaky energy open, that's how you leave yourself susceptible to this. So what we're doing is we're talking about actually integrating any lower frequencies that you have in your body or in your consciousness that is maybe not reconciled from 4 lifetimes ago. Like whatever it is, we're going to go through and we're going to seal up your auric field. If you're having issues with sleep paralysis, if you're having issues with nightmares, if you're having issues with consistent fights, if you're having issues even with people in your life that you're like, I don't understand what's going on and why it's always terrible, I'm going to show you how to clear any type of power that they may have over you because you're allowing that vampirical, because sometimes it's not like a full entity attachment. Sometimes it's that somebody has an entity attachment and you've allowed one of the tentacles of these creepy freaking things into your field that then siphons your energy. Right? So we have to learn how to actually clear and purify and harmonize our field in a way that is not allowing this shit to come in. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Again, type clarity in the comments and you'll automatically be sent the invitation. Who are they? I thought I needed an exorcist. Who is kind of an interesting way. I would more say, what are they? Have I seen it? Have I seen what? Please be more specific there. Beautiful. Every time we get another awakening, the whole system needs clearing out of all implants, etc. Sometimes our soul extensions go through something. Yes. Beautiful. Stephanie saying Sitara has been instrumental in your healing journey. Thank you. Love. Appreciate that. We also, so when you join in, by the way, I already preloaded the class with a couple of transmissions that are already fully associated with this topic of conversation so that when we get to the live 3-day sessions, you will have a basis of understanding. Okay, this happens to you like every 6 months about having to release things that don't serve you. Yeah, absolutely. We should be constantly clearing, things that don't serve us. Absolutely. So entities are external consciousness of beings without bodies that can plug into our energetic field if and only if we let them. That's the thing, is that they can only come in if we on some level agree to let them in, even if it's a tentacle from an energy vampire that that has that you've allowed into your field that is manipulating you. We're going to clear your patterns of being manipulatable. We're going to really, really focus on how you anchor in your divinity and your divine potential that is harmoning your field in a field of grace consistently and honestly. With a lot of, when it comes to the entity conversation, it's like there's so many different ways. Weed is one of them. Alcohol is another. psychedelics, if you're doing psychedelics in festival settings or nightclubs or that sort of thing, you're asking for it. Like you're asking to be a trans medium playground. When you open yourself up in a field that is not clear, and I've been to Burning Man 9 times. I've rallied with the best of them. You know, I've been out there. I've earned my stripes on this one. I'm not saying it to scare you or put any fear in this. What I want to do is empower you to understand the choices that you're making. And if you want to do psychedelics, and if you want to go to a show, and if you want to, do psychedelics with some of your friends that are drinking, you just need to know what you're putting yourself into. You need to know the aquarium that you're choosing to swim into, so that when you come out of it, you're not experiencing so many distortions in your life that all of a sudden things are going absolutely haywire and you're like, I don't understand what's happening. Well, I can tell you what's happening. You let lower level frequencies into your field, and then that becomes your point of attraction. So then that's what you're manifesting in your life. So for you to give yourself the opportunity to empower by being a sovereign being, holding the autonomy in your own body, you need to know how to do this. This is why Spirit was telling me I need to be the one that is hosting this class so that I can share this news with everybody, because it's not common knowledge. I was having this conversation with, a group of people in the last week at this Bruce Lipton event, and they don't have a lot of understanding of fifth dimension or psychic abilities, which a lot of people don't, right? I'm seeing a lot of people saying that makes sense, makes so much sense. I'm just telling you what I know about energy and how it works. Here's the thing, is that if I showed you a list of vocabulary terms, this is clairvoyance, this is clairaudience, this is what clairsentience does, this is claircognizance. If I showed you a list of what all of these things do, more often than not, every single human being in this world would go, oh, I already do that. Oh, I already do that. Oh, I already do that. You're already using your psychic abilities. You just don't know what they are. That's it. You're already interacting with entities. You just don't know it. This is the difference between being conscious and being unconscious. If you are unconscious to something, you don't know what it is that's happening. If you are conscious to something, you're aware and you know what it is that's happening. I don't usually use mantras, and I definitely don't use spells. I do basically talk about personal power and embodiment, and body being connection and body being awareness and knowing how to clear your field. I'm doing everything I can to put your power in your hands. I don't believe there's any other way to lead. I don't believe there's any other way to guide. And that's my own personal opinion, and being on this journey and in the spiritual communities that I've been in for, again, like 15 years, I have seen so many different things. I've seen so many different wackadoo distortions. I've even experienced a couple of them in the last week here in Shasta. What is true harmonious light is indestructible. It's absolutely indestructible. Every single one of us has a true harmonious light within us. Every single one of us has a true harmonious light that is literally trying to be attacked and manipulated by forces and powers that be that want that power from someone else. That is not true power. True power does not come from overpowering somebody else. True power comes from the embodiment that you have of your innate power that is within you, your sovereign divinity that is within you, that you were born with, that you were told 8 ways to Sunday at every point of your life, probably either by mom, dad, institution of school, trust the doctors, all of these things. I'm not going to get on that soapbox. I hope I'm preaching to the choir in this one. It's that what we need to do is we need to take our power back. We need to take the belief back that we can heal ourselves. We need to take the power back that we know what is best for us in our lives. We need to take the power back, even in women in birthing. I mean, that's such a very clear example of how power has been taken out of the woman whose body innately knows how to birth a child. That is part of the entire encoding. So let me explain this to you. It's that our body, women, we have the ability to create a human being inside of our body. To me, that's what woman means. So when we have the ability to create a human being inside of our body, right? I'm looking at my womb here. It's that our mind, our conscious mind, does not know how to create a cell for the eye. It does not know how to create a liver cell to create a liver for the baby. It does not know how to create a toenail cell to create a toenail for the baby. Do you get where I'm going with this? That the intelligence of your body goes so far beyond your mental comprehension. So far beyond your mental comprehension. So much so that science is so far behind what the technology of our human existence actually is. I've run into a few science skeptics in the last week, which has been really funny because I haven't in a while. And to me, science, the development of the technology that measures what they say is true with science is way far beyond what humans are capable of doing anyway. Like, come on. Like, come on. Come on. And I have yet to see AI replicate something that we as human beings don't already have the ability to do. Hashtag not impressed. All right. So again, if you're just coming on here, go ahead and type clarity in the comments. You'll automatically get sent the link to join us in the Entity Clearing Masterclass. Again, has everything to do with you standing in full harmony of your own personal power. That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about how to identify lower level frequencies, currencies, and agreements that you may or may not have consciously made with these beings or entities to let them into your field, including vampirical energies with relationships or people that you may be involved with or have in your life, to be able to clear these tentacles, these little access points that they come in to siphon your life force energy. So if you've ever been around somebody and you leave them and you're like, wow, I am drained, you will know how to clear that from your field and how to set boundaries. A lot of it has to do with clearing codependency on a base and core level, how to honor your own personal integrity in a way that allows your personal power and your own personal illumination in your own divine sovereignty, your autonomy, to shine through unabashedly, and how to become fully unmanipulatable by people, by the field, by parasites, by authorities, by propaganda, whatever it is. It's that it is for you to stand clear and pure in your own focused intention of how you as a soul originally chose to experience this. I'm seeing I can't stand my husband's energy. He cuts you down a lot. Chances are he has an entity that is in his field that literally sucks your life force energy. So if you are low and you're feeling low around a person, or you are feeling that there is chaos around a person that they bring into your life, or if you're recognizing that there consistently is chaos around you in your life, chances are that there is either a wound, which is the access point, a subconscious wound, or an entity that's there. So we're going to go through and we're going to clear, and we're going to have this much deeper conversation in the Entity Clearing Masterclass. It's going to be 3 days, deep dives, transmissions included to help clear all of this out, as well as a community discussion. So we're going to have an integration community discussion call. And historically, I've had the calls 3 days in a row. I'm kind of feeling that maybe we'll do one every other day to space it out, to allow room for a little bit more integration, because this is going to be a really big conversation. It's going to be a really big conversation. I can guarantee you that it is going to pivot your life. It's going to up-level your life. It's going to up-level your skill set. I can't guarantee that you won't have lessons that come into your life associated with this. I don't want to sit here and say, well, you take this class and everything's going to be peachy keen. I want you to know that you take this class and you actually learn the skills that you need to take to become an embodied light warrior. Maya, she's asking, will we learn how to do it for them? You cannot release an entity from someone else without their consent. You're just asking for a world of trouble. So they have to acknowledge that they have an entity or they have a situation, they have a behavior problem that needs to be addressed literally by means of an extraction. And more often than not, a person that is hosting an entity, it depends on the range, right? There's a scale. It depends on the range of one, how integrated this entity is into this person's consciousness, how much the feeling of false power is that they get from this, because ultimately it will like suck the power from people around it and give this person a false sense of entitlement and a false sense of power. Narcissists oftentimes have really gnarly entity attachments. And so you have to get their permission to be able to clear it. If you go in and try to end the agreement, because like I said, on some level, the reason a person has a vampirical attachment associated to them, it is because on some level they made an agreement with it. And it usually has to do in a moment where they are feeling very, very powerless. So if there's patterns of abuse in the family line, some of these things can be genetic. Some of them can be agreements from past lives. We can go into all of that, but I cannot guarantee that you will learn how to clear it from somebody else. But I can say that I'm going to do everything in my power to help you understand how to protect yourself and end agreements from these experiences, right? So that's what we want to acknowledge, and that's what we want to address. Beautiful. Question: being a transgender woman is not an entity. No, very different conversation. Schizophrenia, entities. Multiple personality disorder, entities. Sometimes borderline personality disorder, entities. Narcissism is an extremely, extremely deep, deep, deep wound. All right. Any other questions before we hop off here? And again, if you're just hopping on, go ahead and type clarity in the comments. You can join us in the Entity Clearing Masterclass. It's going to happen in a couple weeks, and we're still in early bird pricing. So don't sleep on this one. If you want to jump in, jump in. What happens when you have to go to work and you see and understand there's a huge amount of these sources around? Well, it depends on what your work is. Bars, places where people are drinking heavily. You're basically making yourself susceptible to being in these for lack of a better term, I would say aquarium. It's like they're aquarium, because if we think of the energy field, right? If you're in a bar, let's say you're walking into this aquarium, you're in this energy field where the water has these parasitic, like I have a hard time even walking by bars at this point. Spirits and entities, no, I would not use those terms interchangeably. Entities is more like, it has a connotation that has a negative connotation. A spirit is not. I would say a spirit is like more neutral. All right. So again, restaurant. It just depends on the consciousness and the frequency of the restaurant. You know, there's certain levels of these vibrational currents that you can see. But again, if you're working in there and you don't have an option to put yourself in a different job choice or option, and you want to stay committed to being in the restaurant, even knowing that there's entities there and knowing that you're, leaving yourself susceptible, then yeah, you definitely want to learn how to protect yourself before going into these spaces. Beautiful. All right. So again, last chance, type clarity in the comments. If you want to get that invitation, you'll get sent a link. Beautiful. How do you protect yourself from the attachment in the first place? That is a much deeper conversation. I will address that in another Instagram live. But I gotta hop up and out. I'm actually driving home. All right. Yeah, I'm seeing some pretty dramatic responses to this conversation. I don't mean dramatic, again, in a negative term. It's just that it is a dramatic topic of conversation. It really is. It really is. If you're feeling nauseous, if you're feeling dizzy, if you're feeling like, oh, I don't like this, chances are you've got something that's clearing from your field. Chances are even just this awareness of this conversation, it's bringing a light, it's bringing a brevity to a situation that is truth in your world and in your reality, which then means you have to face it. Well, we're going to face it together. We're going to face it together, and we're going to face it with a group. And so when you come to the live classes and you're there with us live, there's a harmonization and there's a power in the field. There's this mutual prayer that we are all there with the same prayer, that we are clearing these frequencies from ourselves, that we are empowering ourselves. And the prayer is also into the collective, right? That our brothers and sisters are also clearing this so we can purify the field of the collective. Right? We're purifying the field of our own little inner circles and our own little communities. So it's the gift that you're giving yourself, but it's also the gift that you're giving your communities and your inner circles. So especially, like I said, if you're working in people's aura, nails, hair, facials, lashes, beauty, if you are massage practitioner, intuitive reader, if you are doing even life coaching, anything in this realm, it's really, really, really important to understand and know how this works. You went to your church when you got attacked, and church is also not a pure space. That's a whole other conversation. I'm not going to get into that. But again, honoring the truth of your internal illumination and internal divinity, and recognizing that your light is important to protect. Meaning, do not put yourself in susceptible circumstances and situations if you do not have to. And if you do have to, definitely learn to protect yourself. So, yes, there are all sorts of stones. Yes, there are all sorts of things that you can do. But ultimately, what I'm going to teach you how to do is focus on embodying your personal power. It's unwavering and it works across the board. Once you learn how to do this, it's information that never leaves you. It's with you the rest of your life. So with that, again, type clarity in the comments. Yes, I'm going to leave this so you can listen to the replay. You can share it with your friends and family members. You can, thank you for sharing it with your friends and family members. Welcome them and invite them to join us. I also promise, if you've been in any of my classes before, I can promise that we're going to do everything we can to have as much fun as possible while we have an unpleasant conversation. Because keeping the vibe high and keeping the intention high when we're clearing all of this, it's going to be extremely, extremely, extremely helpful. Fast, quick protection thing. Can you tell us to do anything? Yes. So the main thing that I do actually to protect myself is by focusing on my embodiment and personal power. If you do not have a space inside of your field that allows them in, they won't come in. They can't come in. It's that simple. So even if you are thinking, well, I'm now susceptible because I have a lower frequency, that's literally it. That's an avenue that they come in. So you want to focus on your thoughts. You want to focus on your behavior. You want to focus on what are you focusing on? Like really take into consideration, where is your focus? Where are your thoughts? Are you recognizing I am safe, I am protected, I am safe, I am protected, I am safe, I am protected? And it's not coming from a place of fear, it's coming from a place of certainty. I am safe, I am a way shore of light, I am guided, I am protected. Exactly. If you aren't a match, then they can't connect. This is where it gets tricky, is that they become a match from your subconscious. So we are going to address also the subconscious and what patterns within you become the match and or also become the projection of them. That's where it gets really tricky and a little bit fun. All right, my dears, I've got to get on the road. I'm driving back today. I'm still in Mount Shasta. So if you haven't already, also I recommend going back and watching that Lionsgate transmission that I did. It's a free offering just here on Instagram. And otherwise, again, if you're just hopping on, go ahead and type clarity in the comments here. Join us in the Entity Clearing Masterclass. Right now it's $97. To me, for what I'm sharing with you, it is an extremely valuable offering because, like I said, once we have this conversation, you are empowered for life. It is a resource for you for life to understand and know how to identify and acknowledge this. If you have friends or family that you would like to invite, please do so. Please help me spread the word. This isn't just about me growing my business. It is literally about, me stepping forward in my own divine assignment to help continue to bring this information to the masses so that we can continue to clear the collective together. Because if there's just one or two of us doing this, it doesn't make a big difference. If there's thousands of us doing this, it makes a big difference. So we're going to keep having these conversations. And I just love and adore you. So thank you for being here with me today. Thank you for spending time with me. Again, clarity in the comments. Share with your loved ones. Do what feels right and good in your intuition. If you wake up tomorrow and you're like, I need to join that call, join it. We're here with you. All right. Sending you all so much love. As we go forth, may we integrate the healing and the lessons received with courage, self-love, and compassion. Our session here is very much in love and very much complete. And again, if you go to YouTube and type in Drunk Spirituality Sitara Fe, you'll see a version of baby me talking all sorts of stuff about my experiences with my own entity clearings and removals when I started to learn how to do that. So here we go, my loves. I'll see you soon. And we want to share a big, generous thank you to our listeners who decide to become Monad Society members. This supports this podcast so we can stay true to our heart-centered vision of freedom in topic and expression. We are happy to welcome new members into Align, our community that meets twice monthly for deep dive transmissions, Build, our quantum business development for intuitive entrepreneurs from $0 to $10,000 a month, and Rise, our advanced level psychic development and scale your business course for high-level founders and CEOs by application only. I'm grateful that Monad itself is a sponsor for this powerful and free offering. So please know your invitation to join our movement is here and now. Please click the link in the description below, monadsociety.com/Sitara Speaks, to see what offering resonates with your higher calling. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Beyond the Physical. I hope you found our discussion enlightening and inspiring. Remember that this is an ongoing journey and I'm here to support you every step of the way. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to hear more, I encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss on any of our future episodes. Connect with me on social at sitara.speaks for more insights and updates. Until next time, stay connected to your inner wisdom and keep shining your light.